Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay, guys, quickly now, we're going to update you on some solar activity. First of all, the solar winds blowing on the sun right now at 460,000 kilometers per second. That's higher than normal, but we've seen it much higher. But there's still a coronal hole in the atmosphere of the sun that's still Earth-facing, and that creates a very serious concern for us, the inhabitants of the earth. But also, folks, there's been some new sunspots that have just generated. They're calling them sunspot genesis. Barely visible just 24 hours ago. These new sunspots, a group of them, big enough to swallow Earth, is bubbling up through the solar surface. Watch, and NASA's reporting this to us. It says to watch out because in recent months, sunspot numbers have plummeted, and that's because we're going through a solar cycle or a solar minimum, okay? And this will go on until somewhere between the years 2019 and 2020. So what is the sunspot doing there now then? Well, it's a reminder that the sun can produce sunspots at all phases of its solar cycle. Individual sunspots are completely unpredictable and may appear without notice at any time, all right? Even during great solar minimums like they had in the 17th century. But here's what the situation is right now, what we're concerned about, and that is that the solar minimums would explode with solar flare activity, especially as Comet 45P Honda as it goes by the Earth. Now, it's going to make a very close approach to the Earth on February 11th. Now, normally what happens when a comet goes by the sun, it can cause enough energy that solar flares can shoot out. And as this comet gets very close to the Earth, if it creates a pull and if the sun erupts with a solar flare toward that comet, which happens quite often, then now that flare would actually, as the comet goes by, that flare would hit the Earth. And it could be devastating, okay, as it relates to power grids, but certainly just because of radiation, because there's this gaping hole in the atmosphere of the sun right now, which is allowing no blockage, no filter, no way to slow down. And our magnetosphere, if it's weak, and CERN is cranking and causing it to be weak, then there's no filter hardly at all for this incoming bombardment of ultraviolet rays or gamma rays bringing radiation with it from a solar flare. Now, the Bible told us this was going to happen. And if you go to Revelation chapter 16, let me just read just a couple verses about this very type of events. The Bible's talking about the 7 vials that will be poured out of the wrath of God upon the planet. And number 4 is this, in verse 8. I'm in Revelation 16, verse 8. And the 4th angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. So even though they are being scorched, even though they realize this is a plague from off the sun, it's hot, it's scorching them with radiation, instead of repenting, they rebel against God, they curse God, and they blaspheme his name. And they just continue to be angry at God and in rebellion against God as they continue to worship their father Lucifer and his beast kingdom. Okay, so we're living in the days biblical. Something biblical is going on, folks, with the signs of the second coming of Christ. Give your life to Jesus Christ, folks, and seriously start living. All right, start living again. Start living instead of dying spiritually and everything else, okay? Come to Jesus Christ. We're running out of time.